I'm Megan from Gypsy Kitchen East, and today I'm going to show you how to truss and bake a chicken. I have already cleaned out my chicken, so I removed his giblets, I rinsed him inside and out, I let him dry in the sink, drain in the sink, and then I patted him dry inside and out with paper towels. So the first thing that we're going to do is stuff his cavity, and we're going to do a very simple stuffing today with just a mixture of herbs and lemon. So the first thing we're going to do is take 2 whole lemons, and you're going to roll them out on your counter to soften them up and make them juicier. And you're just going to make several small piercings in the skin with your knife, and then you're going to put the whole lemon into your chicken's cavity. So you're going to do this twice. Again, loosen up your juices. Multiple piercings in the skin, and they're going to go right into the cavity. So I have a 5-pound chicken today. If your chicken is much smaller, maybe you'll need 2 smaller lemons, but I can fit 2 in my chicken, and I'm going to have just a little bit left over hanging out, and that's fine. So the next thing that we're going to do, I'm a very big fan of butter, so I'm going to put butter and additional herbs underneath his skin as well as into the cavity. So the way that you put things under his skin is that you just slide your finger between the meat of the chicken and the skin and just slide it up through the cavity, and it will all disconnect, if you will, so then you have an area in which to work. So let's start out. I'm going to use 3 tablespoons total of butter. I have a little bit more here, but I try to keep it at 3 tablespoons. So I'm going to stuff the cavity up on the breast side of the bird. We're going to use 2 pieces. You can use more or less, it's kind of up to you in terms of what your preference is. I'm going to put 2 little tabs of butter up into the cavity. This is right on either side of my lemon that's already in there. Then I have a couple cloves of garlic that I've already peeled, but I've done nothing else with. So I'm going to mash them just so that they're going to release more flavor and more aroma. So we're going to put that in his cavity as well. Do that twice. The easiest way to do this is to either press on your garlic with a knife or the back of a spoon. Careful with your knife, but I find this the easiest. And so now my garlic's kind of pulverized, and it's easy to stuff into the chicken. If you would like, you can stuff some of the garlic underneath his skin as well. So I'm going to do that. The next thing that we're going to do is add the herbs. So I have some rosemary, some thyme, and some sage. I'm going to start out by touching the back of my herb, whichever it may be, with a fork to kind of break up its skin, release some flavor, and release some aroma. So you're just going to put your sage, or your rosemary, or your thyme, whatever you're working with, into his cavity. Shove it up in there. Then I'm going to do the same thing in his skin, but I want you to be careful with what you're putting in his skin because you're going to have to take this out when you're done cooking. So I like to leave, if I'm going to do my entire herb, I leave it on the stem so that when I'm done cooking, I can pull out the stem all in one piece and I see, exactly where I put it. So that's going to give you some extra flavor. The next thing that we're going to do is truss it, and the reason why you truss a chicken is because he comes like this with his little arms and legs flopping around, and you want to avoid that and bring everything in close so that your meat is juicier and your little edges don't dry out. So first thing you're going to do is take his wings like he's going to the beach, and you're going to wrap his wings behind his head, much like this. So you're going to take his little wings and wrap it and tuck it right behind his head. So now he's tucked up good and tight. So now you're flipping him around. Now he's breast down, back up. I just got butcher's twine from the meat department of my store, of the grocery store. The butcher will be more than happy to give it to you. So let's start first at his legs, and I just put him back side down again. So we're wrapping around his little drumsticks. Just wrap, and then I'm pulling his drumsticks together to keep them nice and tight. Now I'm gonna wrap my twine underneath his thigh bones and flip him over. And then I'm just gonna do a wrap around of his wings and bring it all back down and tie it in a little knot, just like you would tie your shoes. my bird breast side down in the bowl, but I'm only going to cook him breast side down for about half an hour. I'm going to turn him while he cooks so that those juices roll over and go throughout the bird. So now that he's stuffed and trussed, we're going to add just a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. I'm going to do about a teaspoon. You can do more or less depending on your personal taste. And I'm going to do pepper. Finally, I'm going to add something called herbes de Provence. This is a mixture of dried herbs. It's rosemary, thyme, sage, and lavender. And I just think it gives it a really special extra touch. I already have most of these herbs stuffed in his body, but I like to flavor the skin additionally. So I did, again, a teaspoon, and I have some left over. So I've just coated the bird, and now we're ready to go. He's ready to bake. My oven's preheated to 400. I'm going to put him in for 30 minutes. And then turn him, and then whatever amount of time is appropriate for the poundage that your bird is. Ta-da! In just over an hour. When cooking poultry at home, look for an internal temperature of 180 degrees. You can find more recipes like this at www.gypsykitcheneast.blogspot.com. Enjoy!